everyone. So today's video is going to be, are we staring at each other? This video is going to be comparing having a service dog with having an ESA. Yes, Wesley. This is Wesley. He is my service dog who does not like to be held by this. And this is Cat.
Yes. This is Ziggy. He's my ESA cat, and my name is also Cat.
Cat is my roommate for this school year. And so I've been posting a lot of Instagram story videos about Wes and Ziggy playing and just like chilling in the rooms. And someone suggested to do a video about how Wesley and Ziggy get along and like the differences between having Wesley and having Ziggy. And so I put up a poll on my Instagram so you could submit questions that you had for mostly Cat, but also me too, about like their interactions and stuff. So the first question we got was, do they get along well?
And the answer to that would be yes, they get along really well. We were a bit worried at the beginning because, you know, obviously you never know if two animals are gonna get along, even if they're two dogs or two cats. But Ziggy has, we have a dog at home, so he has prior experience with dogs, so we were pretty confident that he would be just fine with Wes. And they took each other right away, and now they just run around and chase each other through both of our rooms, and it's very funny because we just hear random crashes and thuds of them knocking over various things when they like to. Zig just knocked something over right now, so perfect example, but yeah, they're really great friends.
Yeah, I second that. Wes has tried to befriend cats before, and none of them have ever wanted to play with him, but Ziggy actually does, so it's been very fun. The next question just wanted to know some information about having a cat ESA.
Yeah, so I think obviously a lot of people think of dog ESAs as being the main one, and I would say that as a person who has a dog at home and as a person who loves Wesley, I totally understand like the comfort aspect of having a dog. But as someone who has an ESA cat and absolutely loves cats, I would say that cats can definitely provide a similar level of like emotional comfort and stability. Like it's still an animal that you care for, an animal that relies on you. So I think that aspect is still really similar and definitely provides the kind of structure that I like and I think I get the most out of. And obviously unconditional love, it's always really nice. And cats definitely provide that, in my opinion. I think if you've never had a cat, it's hard to understand cat behavior, but the moment you meet a cat or live with a cat, you totally get it. It's a different experience.
Yeah, like I have never lived with a cat before, and so I was nervous, and I'm still asking Cat, like, where can I pet him, or like, is this okay? But Ziggy is actually so funny that he's adorable, and I'm really happy that he has joined the room. Someone asked, at your school, where is the ESA allowed to go?
Okay, so obviously since he's not a service animal, he's not allowed in anywhere except for like our living space, and he's allowed to go outside if I want to take him outside, which I have done before. He has a leash. He gets very excited. He likes to chase the bugs. It's a great experience to see this very small white cat running around chasing bugs on the lawn. I would recommend it. But yeah, basically because he's an ESA, not a service dog, he really is restricted to only our living space.
For Emily's roommate, part 1. Did you know Emily was on YouTube before you moved in? I just want to preface this with Kat and I have been friends before this semester. It wasn't like a random pairing that they do for like first years. So like we were already close friends.
Yeah, so yeah, when I first met Emily, like I already, obviously I met Wesley at the same time, so I was aware of Wesley's presence, and then I became aware of his social media presence. And of course I love all of Emily's content and her videos. I do watch all of them. So yes, I was, whatever. So I was definitely aware of the social media stuff, and I think it's really cool, so I was like, all right, exciting. Like, I don't know, it just wasn't really. Oh, hello, how are you?
Wesley also loves cat, if you
I'm honored.
cannot see.
But yeah, no, so I mean, obviously that's an aspect of Emily and Wesley, but you know.
For Emily's Roommate Part 2, is it weird or awkward when Emily is filming, or is it normal now? I haven't really even been filming this semester.
Yeah, you've been filming less, but like, honestly, like, I don't know, I'll hear you doing stories or, yeah, so like Emily was doing her day in the life vlog. And honestly, I would say it's not much different than, you know, having friends who, you know, use Snapchat a lot, I guess, or, you know, it's just kind of, yeah, I guess it is normalized. It's not super weird or bad. I just go with it.
Someone submitted 3 questions kind of in one, and it's mostly about like how Wes and Ziggy get along, which we've already answered. But I don't know who this question is directed to, so we're gonna both answer it. But someone asked, what about the litter box? Is there a smell? So I honestly haven't smelled anything. I'm really grateful that Kat and I both try to keep our rooms clean and clean smelling. That's always been something I worry about with Wes. And so we both have our little like wallflower things from Bath and Body Works. But yeah, I honestly have never noticed it. The litter box is kind of cool looking, very minimalist.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, like I think like that's also like a common misperception. People are like, oh, you know, litter box is gross, which I agree. Like I'm not a huge fan of having a litter box, but you know, if you have an indoor cat, you have a litter box, that's part of the deal. And honestly, as long as you clean it once a day, which takes maybe 30 seconds, you should be fine. It's really not an issue as long as you know, keep it clean. And yeah, it's really, luckily not a huge issue even in a small space. So I'm grateful for that.
Also, I did not know this, but cleaning the litter box daily just means like scooping it out.
Oh yeah, it's not a hugely labor-intensive process. So if you've never had a cat, basically the litter clumps around whatever's in the litter box, and then you just scoop that out into the garbage.
Okay, is it harder to get them adequate exercise and time out of the dorm with the pandemic? So for me, yes, because like Wes needs to be exercised. Honestly, it's been about the same as other semesters though, because when it starts getting colder, I stop leaving the dorm as much. And this semester has been particularly hard because it's been raining almost every day, and I do not like taking Wes out on hikes when it's raining because 1, he will get soaked and smell like a wet dog, and also 2, he will be covered in mud.
So obviously cats don't need the same kind of like walking type exercise as dogs, but you definitely need to keep them, I would say, entertained. Like you can't just ignore your cat 24 hours a day and hope, you know, and think that's gonna be okay, because first of all, that would be cruel, and also why would you do that? And also if you have, I mean, not obviously, but cats do have a wide range of temperaments. Like some cats are super laid back and just kind of chill all the time. That would not be Ziggy's personality. He is very excited. He likes to jump on things and run around and knock things off my desk.
He sprints.
He sprints. He does full like sprints from my room all the way through to Emily's room and then all the way back. So actually the exercise part has been great with having Wes here because it gives him someone to chase.
Yeah.
So it's very exciting for Ziggy because obviously at home I have my dog who he also loves to chase, but here he has Wesley, who is a much more willing participant and will chase back, which is very fun for Ziggy.
That's also been a lifesaver, that Wes and Ziggy will play and that gets out some of Wes's energy. What was the process like to get him here?
So it was, I would presume, less intense than a service dog because, I mean, just in terms of like the administration aspect, because like the ESA process is a lot more, I don't want to say mainstream, but like
streamlined.
Yeah, streamlined. That's the right word I was trying to think. It's a lot more streamlined. So yeah, so you have to email our like dean of accessibility, and then you have to fill out this whole big form sort of with all the rules saying, you can't bring him here, and you have to make sure that you have, contingency plans and stuff like that. Then you have to get your diagnosing professional to submit the request saying why you need an ESA and why they think you would benefit from that. And then you have to put a personal statement on there as well, explaining why you'd benefit from that. And finally, you have to get your veterinary records sent, and you have to get the vet to fill out a quick form, at least for our school. And then finally, once all that was submitted, I had to meet with the dean just to make sure that everything was in place. And then he emailed a confirmation that we would be allowed on campus. And then when you get to campus, yes, hello. When you get to campus, the dean also meets with you, and you put a sign up on your door that says that you have an animal in the room, just so people know.
When we came back, Wes was fully trained, so it was much easier. It's kind of similar to the ESA process, that you need a doctor's letter, you need the vet records, and then I also have something up on my door saying that there's an animal inside. And I know that something new the school has been doing is that they notify like our campus security and Res Life which dorms and rooms have animals, so in case of like a fire drill, that they go in and check for the animals.
Or even like with COVID stuff, like we have to do like contingency plans and stuff like
Yeah.
that. That's just like this year, obviously, but.
Which animal likes to cuddle more, the cat or Wesley? So Wesley is not really a cuddler. Like, he'll lay on top of me, or like he'll lay on my legs, but he doesn't like to be held.
Zig is funny. He will usually, he will usually sleep on my legs, but he will usually sleep on my legs or on my bed. But when you try to hold him, he does this thing, which is honestly really funny.
Oh,
no, so close, Zig.
It's okay. Escape
only.
That happens.
Yeah, so he's kind of funny, but somehow we got like less cuddly pets, but honestly that doesn't particularly bother me, because what I love about Ziggy is it sounds so cliche, but I love his personality. He's just so funny and entertaining. Like, cats can have just as like varied and funny little quirks as dogs do. Like, they have their preferences and they have the things they do, and yeah, I don't know, I guess that's what keeps it interesting for me.
How did you introduce them?
Honestly, I don't really remember, but I think we kind of like, we kept them separate for a bit. Yeah, you held Wes, and they just kind of sniffed each other. And they seemed fine. And again, we were less worried that like they like would hate each other. It was more like, will they get along and will they want to play with each other? So that, I mean, I don't know, it's like having your kids be like, will our kids get along so that we can do work while they literally entertain each other? Yeah, so like it wasn't an issue of, because Ziggy's also very used to other animals, so we knew he would be fine, and Wes has met other cats, so it was more of, will they learn to like each other, which they did quite quickly, so that was good.
Yeah, I think they actually started playing like the end of the first week.
Yeah, it was like within a week.
That's when they were like actually playing with each other.
So like they'll chase each other around, and then Ziggy will try to bop Wes in the nose.
And Wes will try to bop Zig.
Which is very funny. And then Zig just rolls over, and it's very cute.
Does your roommate ever ask Wes to do tasks for her if they're just being a bit lazy? Oh, I guess they like the animals. Kat has never like asked for Wes to help, but Wes can sense when if other people are distressed.
Yeah. So about tasks, obviously, like, first of all, I would personally never ask someone else's service dog to task me. I just feel like that would be rude. But I know I'm like, we're good enough friends and I normally wouldn't mind, but I personally would just feel very odd doing that. So I don't think I would ever do that. But when I have been like distressed, shall we say, Wesley has definitely noticed, and he'll come and try to help me or try to task, which is honestly very sweet. And I don't know, so I guess that just shows that, I don't know, I mean, everyone knows that dogs have compassion, but it's just really nice to know that Wesley, I don't know, he can apply his talents in many situations.
But yeah, so Wes like will freak out if like one of my friends is in distress and like do his kind of like takedown thing where he tries to like
make
get
you
their
sit
attention
down
and then climb on top of you. Is it weird to have a cat at school?
So I would say no, having a cat on my campus definitely isn't weird. Like, it's not like stigmatizing or anything. No one's like, oh, you have an ESA, like that's weird or whatever. I think a lot of people have ESAs, at least on my campus. So it's pretty normal. And you know, if people see photos of him on social media or anything, they're like, oh, you have a cat, that's so nice, or whatever. So it's actually not a huge deal, which is really nice.
Yeah, I've always heard supportive comments about either Wesley or Zig or ESAs in general. How do you juggle taking care of an animal and also yourself while being a full-time student?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I have videos kind of talking about this for me, so I'm just gonna briefly state that like it's definitely, and for me, it's definitely tough, and I think a lot of people underestimate the amount of responsibility it is. Are you okay?
This is what I mean when I say he has personality. I think that's one of the things that bothers me the most, like as a friend of a service dog handler, is when people...
But also ESA.
But also ESA, but like mostly for you, is that when people are like, oh my gosh, like I would love to have a dog on campus. And like I, as Emily's roommate, see how much work goes into taking care of Wesley, and like how much like strategizing and deciding and like bringing stuff and not bringing stuff and all that kind of thing goes into having a dog on campus. So I would say definitely don't take the decision lightly to have an ESA or a service dog, obviously, which I don't think anyone would, but just to say that I think it is definitely work. It's not all fun stuff. I think having a cat is obviously less work because like, you know, you don't have to take a cat outside to go to the bathroom. You don't have to plan your day around that aspect of it. But I mean, I'm certainly not gonna be the kind of person who could just leave my room from 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. That wouldn't be healthy. So I try to like space out my classes and that sort of thing to make sure that I can come back and play with Ziggy and stuff.
The last question. Most cats are antisocial. How does he comfort you when you need it? Is he more social?
I would definitely say Zig is more social. Yeah, I guess that's like, and I totally get that. But I think that's like a common misperception people have about cats, that all cats are, you know, hide under the bed and never come out type cats. But I would say that if you have a cat or if you get to know cats, most of them are just hugely varying in their personalities, and for me, I think Ziggy provides comfort in that he's just very funny and very entertaining, and he really does get me up in the mornings, literally. He walks all across my bed and on me to wake me up. So in that sense, and in the sense of, you know, making sure that if I get up and he gets up, then, you know, it gives me balance, gives me structure in my day, and sort of, yeah, I think it provides comfort in that sense. And also in just having like a small furry friend who likes to come sleep on your feet. Like, who wouldn't want that?
Yeah. I think one of the things about Wes that is also really helpful for me is just like having him and having to be responsible for a living being that is not myself, because like I know that I actually have to get out of bed because he has to go to the bathroom, or like I have to feed him. So I don't know if you can relate.
Yeah, like, definitely. I think the whole responsibility for somebody else other than yourself I think the whole responsibility for somebody else besides yourself is super key. Yeah, so I would agree that I think taking care of a living being and having somebody else, he's a person, having somebody else there to sort of motivate you is so much more motivating than just being by yourself.
So that's all the questions we got for this video. Please let me know if you want more Q&A videos, / if you want to ask Kat more questions. But yeah, thank you to everyone who submitted a question, and I'm gonna try to include some video clips next of the two of them playing. All right, everyone, thank you for watching.
So, what you contemplating? Look at the little hands.
Wes, no. Wes, no.
He's like, no, I escape.
No, they're both babies.
Escape only, sir. Yeah, you're very helpful. He's like, no,
Okay.